Hi, everyone, and welcome to the A Matter of Taste show. I'm your host, Rudi Stroebel. And on this show, we deal with everything to do with wellness, really, but in particular, how food relates to emotional, physical, and mental well-being. That said, I'm super excited to welcome my next guest, Lani Cooper, to the show. Lani is an Australian businesswoman, sports therapist, yoga instructor, and industry expert in recovery and holistic health. Lani, welcome.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this. I know you're so busy. So let's get right into it. I met you just a few months ago through some mutual friends, actually, and I've just heard all these amazing things about you and your business and what you've been through. And I thought, what a wonderful guest to invite on my show. Tell us a little bit about how you ended up in America.
Oh la la, the legal version? No, I'm kidding. I started coming to the US as a flight attendant many years ago, and that's when I got my first taste. And I was like, okay, I think I'd like to move here. I've been, I guess you could say entrepreneur, never really gelled with that word, but businesswoman since a young age, and definitely wanted to bring my business over here, which I did. So my company, MOBOT, that I founded and I'm CEO of, I brought over to the States in 2012.
Amazing. Yeah, because I read up so much about this amazing water bottle / foam roller that you kind of invented. Tell us about how that came about and what it's for, really.
Yeah, it's a 2-in-1 foam roller, trigger point foam roller, and a water bottle in one. So for me, my background in sports therapy and recovery, those are two things that are so important for everyone. And you don't have to be an athlete to get the benefits. Even if you're stressed out or doing yoga or traveling a lot, it's really helpful. But most foam rollers are so big and cumbersome and kind of actually ugly. So we can't have ugly things in the world. And I was also a little bit excuse intolerant. So when people would say, I didn't have time to drink more water or do my rehab or roll out or stretch or recover, I wanted to create something that was pretty and motivating in their face.
I mean, I love it. I'm hoping to get one myself soon. I should have really kind of organized that.
We should have.
For this interview, but so many of my friends have them and they just rave about them. I think the two things that really stood out for me about inventing something like this is the hydration aspect of it, but then also saving, all this plastic that, goes into the landfills. That's such a wonderful idea to kind of combine these two super useful elements in such a beautiful packaging. We're going to stick it up on the screen for our viewers to see.
Of course.
But the kind of big issue here is hydration. Tell our viewers and listeners about what you've learned in your sort of career about how important hydration is for all of us.
Yeah, and just to touch on what you said with the environment, that was a big part of it. So it's all recycled stainless steel and reducing single-use plastics, not just for the ocean because it ends up back in our body, but drinking from single-use plastics over time affects our health, our mental health, and our well-being. So I really like having those reusable products really help. So that was a big part of it. Hydration. Oh gosh, I've seen so many people's lives change just from increasing their hydration or decreasing what dehydrates them, which I think not enough people talk about what's actually dehydrating us, because you don't want to go drinking 10 gallons of water. That's not actually going to fix your problems. We're not camels. We don't store it. So, putting little incremental amounts in and making sure we're getting the nutrients to support the cells, so that water or the hydration is going into our cells, which they call intracellular and extracellular hydration. So you want hydrated cells, not just our body flooded with water. You've got to have like the sodium and the potassium and magnesium that goes with it, not the sugar and the glucose like the drinks and sodas they sell us. So sometimes I think it's more important to start talking about what dehydrates us.
I mean, that's so interesting, because I often find myself drinking a lot of water, but still being thirsty because my body is just crying out. What actually happens there on a cellular level for us to drink all this water, but still be thirsty? Why exactly is that?
Well, it's not going into the cell. So it's kind of, I try to give an analogy of like if you're hosing concrete, it's just going to run off. So whereas if you're putting water on good soil, even the first rain, say you see it in California, the first rain is a write-off. It's a runoff. So if you're already dehydrated and dry and the cell's not ready to take it in, you're going to probably pee a lot more when you start drinking a lot more water. That's why electrolytes are really, really important, to have those nutrients that go into the cell to pull the water into the cell. If you looked up a hydrated cell and a dehydrated cell, you'd see the deformities in the dehydrated cell where the nutrients aren't pulling the hydration into the cell. So it's not just about drinking loads of water. Like I love to drink water, particularly if I'm exercising, I'm in a hot place, or I'm having things that dehydrate me. But I don't think we need to be drinking gallons of water. I think you can find your own balance of what you need, and depends on like if you get kidney stones or what's going on in your life. But I think it's super important to have the right minerals as well to have the balance. And look, I don't work for this company. I've just worked with this company called Cell Food, which I actually have it here because I wanted to show. I've been using this stuff for about 25 years. It is my secret weapon to hydration. I started using it when I was a flight attendant because that is the most dehydrating environment. So people that are flying a lot need it. It's been in my handbag, apologize, but this is what it looks like. It's called Cell Food Nutrition. And it's a supplement that has all the nutrients, all the minerals and everything you need to pull it into the cell. I think it's about 72 oxygenated and oxygen-rich minerals and supplements in this. You only need 8 drops in your water. It tastes like lemon.
Wow.
And I noticed a massive difference when I was a flight attendant. So I don't know that you can be in more dehydrated environment consistently. And we swear by it. I love it.
That's amazing.
And so it's little things like that.
So when somebody chooses the water for them, because I have this company deliver water in a big glass thing for me, and that's the one that I sort of choose to drink. But if somebody has gone from tap water or plastic bottled water, do you have any advice for people? How do they choose the right kind of water? And then of course you enhance it with something like that. But how do you choose the right water for you?
It's such a great question. I feel like it's gotten out of hand, especially in America with like all the different plastic bottle, aluminium cans, glass water. There's actually a guy on Instagram, I think he's called the water guy or the water sommelier. And he always tests all the water. So watching someone like that lets you know what the pH balance is, because a lot of the time when they filter out the water, they don't put nutrients back in. So they've taken all the impurities out, but they haven't put good things in it for the water to actually work for you. So I like to buy oxygenated water or reverse osmosis, alkaline, things like that. Those are the ones I look for. Or buying a filter to stick into your fridge or into your home, like filtering your whole home is the best way to make sure you've got healthy water going through your whole house. Like our skin is so absorbent for even when we shower. So I've seen a lot of people put one in their house. It saves you so much money on bottled water.
Yeah, and of course the impact on the planet is it's unmeasurable.
Yeah, I think people underestimate how much they're spending on plastic water or water bottles per year. That over the year, a one-time expense for a filter or a filtration system would be done, and they just need a reusable, and they're done. It's actually quite simple.
So in the literature, I found some links between being dehydrated and suffering from anxiety and depression, and how there's sort of a correlation between the two. Would you share with us some of your findings around that issue?
I mean, definitely, I don't know if you've experienced it. I have, being dehydrated or having a big night the night before, and you're a little bit moody and cranky and things like that. So dehydration definitely does that. And when you're stressed and tension, maybe you're not breathing correctly, or how you're breathing can dehydrate you. If you're stressed, sometimes people go to the toilet a lot more. So there's so many things that can trigger you to be more dehydrated. And I feel like water not only has like a calming, soothing effect, once you become a little bit more hydrated, the body can be like a little bit more at rest and can focus on things. And I know I found that when I'm more hydrated, I can think more clearly, brain fog goes. I mean, I think they say for athletes, even just 1% to 2% dehydrated can affect your on-field performance by up to 15 to 20%.
Wow.
And so you don't have to be an athlete to have that happen. If you're working as an athlete, as in you're training in the morning, then you're driving to work, and then you're performing at work, brain work still is as hard as physical activity. You're going to get brain fog, you're going to have fatigue and moody, headaches. And people think taking an Advil to make it go away, but usually it's like having some water or having some watermelon or something like that to hydrate your cells.
Yeah, hydrating food has changed my entire physical makeup. I mean, a lot of cucumber, lots of watermelon, fruit in general, I find, super hydrating. Strawberries is packed with vitamin C. Things like that really does make the water almost stick to the cell, to your point earlier.
Yeah, I think celery juice is one that people don't realize is quite hydrating. And because of the celery salt and everything in celery, it's really actually extra hydrating.
I start my morning every morning with a celery juice, actually.
You look like you do. You look
it's
amazing.
Just good lighting, but thank you. You shared with me this horrible thing that happened to you a few years ago, that you had this traumatic brain injury that sort of completely changed your life. How long ago did that happen, and what actually happened?
That was in 2016, and I grew up playing rugby. You're from South Africa, I'm from Australia. It's what we do. And I was playing a social game of touch rugby down on the beach with the boys in Santa Monica, and one of the guys just took it extra serious and knocked me out, and I lost everything: cognitive, speech, memory. I was kind of like, I guess, a functioning vegetable for a couple of years. Wow. And returned kind of back to my business and back to normal life without a carer around the end of 2018. And there's still a lot of things I have changed. Some things just didn't come back. I just had to accept that I am different, bad or good, I'm not sure. But yeah, it definitely changed my life in so many ways.
What did the doctors say when that happened? I think you mentioned something about they mentioned you're going to have full-time care for the rest of your life. I mean, what do you go through emotionally when you hear something like that?
I mean, I don't really remember, so I guess it's a gift. I guess that it also comes to like the work that I do, which is like body work and healing. It was very interesting how much I learned through that about all the things that I talk about and what I want to do with MOBOT actually happened to me. And so they said that I needed a full-time carer, and it'd likely be a minimum of 2 years to make any sort of recovery. So It was around the 18-month mark where I could sort of be trusted to be out by myself. I guess it's similar to like Alzheimer's or dementia, in the sense that I could be talking to you right now, but then any second or any minute, the memory could just cut out, and I'll be like, oh my God, who are you? How did I get here? And freak out. Wow. So that started to happen less and less, and I started to become more and more aware of that and not freak out. But it was in my body. So even still now, I'll have memories that come up in my body, but I won't have a conscious memory of those years of people I've met. My body will just react.
Wow. And how did because you were a sports therapist, so how did that sort of training help you recover? Did it help you recover? I mean, surely you could pull on some of those skill sets.
Oh, definitely. And because I was already working in the rehabilitation industry, so I had a lot of connections with a lot of doctors and rehab therapists and chiropractors. If it wasn't for them, I would have been in a fair bit of trouble because I didn't have insurance in America. I was pretty new to America. So they all banded together. I had no idea what was going on. And they put a hyperbaric oxygen chamber in my room. They had me in there for several hours every day. Did a lot of like electrode, ECG, EDMR, essential oils, a lot of yoga, a lot of binaural beats and the Hertz music, metronomes, a lot of things to try and get my balance and my senses back. I lost a lot of those. So it was a lot of long rehab. It went on for years, but I think I had moments of clarity having had my skill set in the holistic health arena and knowing that I didn't want to take anything. Everyone's like, oh, you're depressed, you need drugs, or you seem like you're Asperger's, you need to take something. And I'm like, no, I've just hurt my brain. So the patience and perseverance for me to last it out and do everything naturally paid off massively now, but it was pretty grueling at the time. Right.
I mean, I guess when you're in such a state, all you want is a quick fix, but to have the patience and the know-how to go, you know what, this is actually, I'm pretty sure there's more going on than just taking a pill. Let's pull on some of these other skill sets that have always been around me.
Yeah. And I guess lucky for me, was quite unwell when I was younger in my teens, and I had to persevere and come through something that didn't have a quick fix. So I think maybe because I knew that if I pushed through and waited it out, it could come good. But there were definitely, I'm not going to lie, there were definitely some dark days where I just didn't think I was going to make it. It was, because they likened it to similar to CTE symptoms, like what the footballers get. that's pretty crazy and out of control, and you're not really what society perceives as fitting in. Like I did, lost a lot of friends, but that's right. I have better ones now.
Exactly. I mean, this is an incredible story, and for anybody out there listening to this, and that have perhaps know somebody that's going through something similar, or that had been through something similar themselves, what advice do you have for somebody struggling in those situations?
Wow. Well, honestly, it sounds cliche, but hydration is needed, and looking after your gut health, like making sure that you're healthy so the brain can repair. So nutrition.
Right.
I used essential oils, and I still do, and I still swear by essentials, not just for helping to relearn, get my olfactory senses going again, to learn certain, to remember things. It really helped calm my nerves, making sure I had headphones wherever I was and I could put in calming music. Having people to have compassion and know that when you're not coping, whether it's sight, sound, noises and things would trigger me. Having people to have compassion around you, a lot of faith. There was a lot of dark nights of the soul, a lot of prayers, and knowing that you can come out. You'll come out different, but it doesn't mean it's worse.
Right.
I'm really happy with who I am. Have I lost some things that I used to really love and appreciate and think they were the bee's knees? Yes, but the way it's shifted now, I'm really grateful for all the things that have come out of it. It's the lessons on the other side.
Yeah, I mean, the sort of new outlook on life must have been, like a 180 for you.
Oh yes, I mean, I don't want to swear, but I have a interesting distribution of what I care about and what is a problem or an issue. These days I'm like, I'm okay. That's not really an issue. I'm here. I'm living. I can remember your name. I can work. I can function. I can drive. I can eat. I remember what food tastes like. It made me really appreciate the tiniest little things.
I mean, if any, did food play in your recovery and since?
Oh, massive part, because I had to do a lot of, they say your gut's your second brain. So when that went, I was very bloated, very inflamed. My whole body was inflamed. I put on a lot of weight. I would forget to eat. And so that would make it worse. And then I'd go into lows and things like that. So we had to do a lot of nutrition and healing work as well. Nutrition played a huge part. I'm a big believer in when a crisis like that happens, that, being vegan or raw vegan. So just trying to be lighter, even if it was soups, it was bone broth, it was going as light as I can so my body could do its job and heal. Right. And so trying not to overload it.
I mean, it's amazing that you say that, because I've always struggled with borderline personality disorder, and I haven't had an episode in such a long time because of amazing therapy and a healthy diet. But at my worst, I used to cut out quite a lot of things, specifically sugar and dairy and gluten, that was all inflammatory things. And I really felt that it made me feel calmer and more grounded and less sort of at the mercy of my nervous system. So what you're saying is absolutely in line with what I have found with my own well-being as well, that really the gut is like the other brain, and it, how we treat our bodies are, I mean, it's everything.
It really is. And I think, people are really obsessed with mindset and get your mind right and things like that. But, there was no amount of mind or mind control or hypnosis, anything that was working when I was coming through my brain injury, which was frustrating because that was a tool I used to use a lot, because my brain was broken. And the only way to heal it was to heal my body and to heal the brain. So sometimes when you've got toxicity, high toxicity levels, or you've got an injury or inflammation, you've got to heal that first, and then that'll calm it down. So you can actually really feel like you can feel into your thoughts. Otherwise, everything's just raw.
I mean, I've always heard the opposite, that you get your mind right and the body will follow. And I think for a lot of people, that is sort of sound advice, but I love the idea that it also works the other way around, that it's a complete two-way street between the mind and the body.
Definitely. And I must admit, I believe that as well. I was like, we'll power through. I'll get hypnotized. I'll do this. NLP, all the things, was doing those affirmations, all of it. And they do work. But then particularly if you've had trauma and your nervous system's heightened and it's stuck in that broken record of triggering too quickly.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened to me.
Yeah, you've got to get to the body and you've got to retrain the nervous system very similarly to muscles. It has a memory to start to be calm, to start to trust you, to start to breathe through it and not be triggered so quickly, which takes time. And which is a lot of what I teach with the foam roller is trigger point therapy. So you can breathe into your body and it grounds you and relax. And then over a couple of weeks, your nervous system's like, who are you? I trust you. Oh, I get it. Oh, we breathe, we relax. Oh,
I love
you
that.
don't want to hurt me. You're like, no, I don't.
That's amazing. Yeah. Have you heard people sort of struggle to get into the habit of using it every day or forgetting it at home or things like that? And then at some point they just go, oh no, and now I don't forget anymore. There must be that.
What usually happens is they either have an injury or they tweak it at work or they really need it and haven't used it. Like I've gotten emails weeks later going, oh my God, I did my back at work. It's a foam roller. Did you know that? I was like, should I stay in business? And then they like, it saved my life or it saved my back or I don't have to massage my wife anymore. She's obsessed. Once you get a couple weeks into it, it's so hard to stop because the relief, but getting started is like when someone reached out today and go, what's the biggest mistake people make with foam rolling? I said, not doing it.
Yeah, exactly. And, posture has always been such an issue for me. We grew up sitting like this. So this will help with that too.
Yes, yes, miss.
Exactly.
Yes, miss. It definitely does. Like we use it a lot. Like you can use it on a wall or behind a chair, but if you put it behind your back when you're in a chair with a high back and you can roll like side to side, it just takes little tweaks like that often. The body reacts a lot quicker than people think.
That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. So this has been amazing having you on, and thank you so much for making the time for this. I know that you are so busy getting this company really global and, getting everybody on board with a foam roller / water bottle called MOBOT. So Lani, Cooper, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Rudi. It was a pleasure.
All right, guys, that was Lani Cooper. I'm going to put all her details and her social media links and also the website for MOBOT in the description box. Please check that out and support her. And thank you so much for joining us. Bye-bye.